such a bond.
We
You
were
never
in, we
broke
were
up.
in love, and we all were married and had babies, but we were in love.
Yeah.
In a masculine way.
Have you ever heard the beautiful songs of the Four Tops and wondered about the lives of the men behind them? Did you know their journey was filled with talent, fame, but also deep sadness?
Officer, I said, if you don't mind, I said, can I please show you something? His response to me was, nothing you have do I want to see or do I need to see. They had taken me out of my clothing.
What happened to these legendary singers who brought so much joy to the world? Let's look at their story and the heartbreaking events that marked their lives and careers.
And we all four were kind of street guys at the age. We were in high school, but we were like, what you call it, nice nasty. We was great in school, but we were street guys.
The Four Tops began their music journey when they were still in high school in Detroit. The group started when two students from Pershing High, Levi Stubbs and Abdul Duke Fakir, teamed up with Ronaldo Obi Benson and Lawrence Payton from Northern High. They performed at a local birthday party, and their friends encouraged them to form a group. They decided to stay together and called themselves the Four Aims.
The moment that we did come together and start singing, it's something magical happened, honestly, and we all felt it.
The group got help from Peyton's cousin, Roquel Davis, who was a songwriter. This helped them sign with Chess Records, but they soon changed their name to the Four Tops to avoid confusion with the Ames brothers, a popular group at the time. For the next 7 years, the Four Tops struggled to get any hit songs. They moved between different record labels like Chess, Red Top, Riverside, and Columbia Records. But none of their songs became popular. Despite this, they kept performing, traveling around, and developing a strong stage presence.
We needed to sing together and rehearse starting the next day. And that's what we did. And we were more amazed once we started singing together.
But then things started to change. Berry Gordy Jr., the founder of Motown, convinced the Four Tops to join his label. Before this, Gordy had worked with Roquel Billy Davis in the late 1950s. The group joined Motown and began recording jazz songs for Motown's Workshop Jazz Records label. They also backed up other Motown artists like the Supremes and Martha and the Vandellas on their songs. In 1964, Motown's famous songwriting and production team, Holland Dozier Holland, created an instrumental track without lyrics. They decided to turn it into a pop song for the Four Tops, and the result was Baby I Need Your Loving. Released in 1964, the song became a big hit, reaching number 11 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart. Following Baby I Need Your Loving, the Four Tops had more hits, including Ask the Lonely, which became a top 30 pop hit and a top 10 R&B hit in 1965. But their biggest breakthrough came in 1965 with their #1 hit, I Can't Help Myself. This song started a long list of successful hits for the Four Tops, including It's the Same Old Song, Something About You, and Shake Me, Wake Me. The Four Tops' lead singer, Levi Stubbs, sang in a high tenor voice, adding a sense of urgency and emotion to their songs. Many of their songs also featured background vocals from a female group called the Andantes, which helped balance the sound with their deep voices. One of their biggest hits was Reach Out, I'll Be There. Released, the song became a #1 hit in the US and the UK and became the Four Tops' signature song. IT was quickly followed by Standing in the Shadows of Love, another hit about heartbreak. The group continued to release popular songs, including Bernadette in 1967, which focused on a man's obsessive love for a woman. They also had hits like 7 Rooms of Gloom and You Keep Running Away. By now, the Four Tops were not just popular in the US, but also in the UK. They even started experimenting with pop songs, covering Tim Hardin's If I Were a Carpenter in 1967 and Walk Away Renee in 1968. Now, did you know that there was a rivalry between the Temptations and Four Tops members? I mean, back in the golden days, these two groups were under Motown Records. They both wanted the top spot, This rivalry showed up during a big event at the Palace Theater on Broadway. Both groups shared the stage for a week, bringing their classic hits to life. The show started with some playful teasing between the groups. The Four Tops went first, but it didn't go as planned. The Four Tops only have one original member left, Abdul Duke Fakir. The other members, Lawrence Payton Jr. and Harold Bonhart, tried hard but couldn't match the power of Levi Stubbs, their original lead singer. Instead of sticking to their biggest hits, they performed songs like Mac the Knife and even took turns singing solo songs. The crowd joined in for I Can't Help Myself, Sugar Pie Honey Bunch. But the audience's energy was stronger than the singers on stage.
I'm tied to your apron string, and there is nothing that I can do.
When it was the Temptations' turn, they showed why they've always been Motown legends. Like the Four Tops, they only have one original member, Otis Williams. But their current lineup, including Bruce Williamson and Ron Tyson, brought incredible energy. Bruce's deep voice and Ron's high falsetto reminded everyone of the magic of past members like David Ruffin and Eddie Kendricks. The Temptations wowed the crowd with hits like Get Ready, Just My Imagination, Running Away With Me, and the funky Papa Was a Rolling Stone.
Mama, is it true what they say that Papa never worked a day in his life?
Their songs came fast and each one was a hit. Their ability to change with the times has always given them an edge, and that talent still shines. Even the Temptations couldn't resist a holiday song, ending their set with Silent Night. But before that, they delivered their timeless classic, My Girl.
I guess you say.
The night ended with a clear winner in the rivalry. The Temptations brought the showmanship, the energy, and the hits that made them Motown royalty. While the Four Tops and the Temptations may still battle for bragging rights, the audience was the real winner. Both groups reminded everyone of the magic of Motown and why their songs are unforgettable. After that, Holland Dozier Holland left Motown after having disputes with Berry Gordy Jr. Without them, the group struggled to create big hits for a while. Later on, they worked with many different producers like Ivy Jo Hunter, Nicholas Ashford and Valerie Simpson, Norman Whitfield and Johnny Bristol. But the success they once had on the charts seemed out of reach. In 1970, things started to change. The group had a major hit with the song It's All in the Game.
But these things, your heart can rise.
This was a pop top 30 hit and an R&B top 10 hit. It was produced by Frank Wilson, and the group began to experiment with new sounds. Their 1970 album, Still Waters Run Deep, helped inspire Marvin Gaye's famous 1971 album, What's Going On. The Four Tops also worked with the Supremes on several albums, like The Magnificent Seven and Dynamite. While the albums didn't do well on the charts, one song from The Magnificent Seven, a cover of Ike and Tina Turner's River Deep Mountain High, was a hit. The 1971 song A Simple Game, a cover of a Moody Blues song, did well in the UK, but it didn't perform well in the US. Despite this, the group still had loyal fans in different parts of the world. By the early 1970s, Motown, the company that helped make the Four Tops famous, was changing. New artists like Michael Jackson and Diana Ross were becoming the focus, while older acts like the Four Tops were being pushed aside. The company also moved from Detroit to Los Angeles. This caused many of the older artists, including the Four Tops, to leave. The Four Tops joined ABC Dunhill, where they worked with new producers like Dennis Lambert and Brian Potter. Their first big hit on this label was Keeper of the Castle in 1972. This song brought them back into the top 10 on the pop charts. They followed it up with Ain't No Woman Like the One I've Got, which was another big hit. During the next few years, they kept releasing successful songs, including Are You Man Enough and Sweet Understanding Love. But in 1976, their hits started to slow down. They left ABC and made an album with Philadelphia musicians, but it didn't do well on the charts. In 1981, the Four Tops signed with Casablanca Records and had a big comeback with the song When She Was My Girl. This song became a #1 hit on the R&B charts. They also had a hit in the UK with Don't Walk Away. They even appeared in the movie Grease 2 with their song Back to School Again. They later returned to Motown. They performed on the famous Motown special Motown 25, Yesterday, Today, Forever, and later went on tour with the Temptations. Their new album, Back Where I Belong, had some success, including the song I Just Can't Walk Away. The Four Tops continued to perform and tour throughout the late 1980s and beyond. They made guest appearances on albums by other famous artists like Aretha Franklin and Grover Washington Jr. But the group only recorded one album during this time, a Christmas album called Christmas Here With You in 1995.
There was such a bond.
We
You
were
never
we
broke
were
up.
in love, and we all were married and had babies, but we were in love.
Yeah.
In a masculine way.
But behind the fame, the group faced many challenges, including health problems and losing key members. These struggles impacted their ability to perform and led to breaks in their career. One of the biggest losses was Lawrence Payton, who passed away in 1997. Payton was a genius when it came to music. He created the vocal arrangements that gave the group their famous sound. He sang lead on some songs like We All Gotta Stick Together and Feel Free. However, he often stayed in the background while Levi Stubbs took the spotlight as lead singer. Stubbs himself admitted how talented Payton was, saying he had a gift for harmonies. Payton stayed with the group for 43 years before dying of liver cancer at age 59. After his death, the remaining members, Levi Stubbs, Abdul Duke Fakir, and Ronaldo Benson, kept performing as a trio under the name The Tops. In 1998, they added Theo Peoples, a former member of the Temptations, to bring the group back to its original quartet. Ronaldo Obi Benson was another important member of the Four Tops. Benson wasn't just a singer, he was also a songwriter. He helped create the famous song, What's Going On? The idea for the song came to him after he saw police fighting with protesters in California. He tried to get the Four Tops to record it, but they turned it down because it was a protest song. Eventually, Marvin Gaye recorded it, making it one of the most famous songs ever. Sadly, Benson faced serious health problems later in life. After losing a leg due to poor circulation, doctors found cancer in his lungs. Sadly, Ronaldo Benson passed away from lung cancer in 2005. He was replaced by Lawrence Payton's son, Lawrence Payton Jr. The group continued to carry on the Four Tops name. Even after the passing of so many key members, Levi Stubbs, the lead singer, was known for his powerful voice that touched hearts all over the world. His singing made songs like Reach Out, I'll Be There unforgettable. People said his voice had a special emotion that made the lyrics come alive. Unfortunately, Stubbs had a tough battle with cancer starting in 1995. In 2000, he suffered a stroke, which forced him to stop performing with the group. Ronnie McNear stepped in to sing Lawrence Payton's part, and Theo Peoples became the new lead singer. Unfortunately, Stubbs passed away in 2008. The Four Tops kept performing, honoring their legacy and the memory of their lost members. The group was featured in several TV specials, including a 50th anniversary concert that was later released on DVD.
Easter weekend, my wife and I were spending time with our daughters. I took ill, called EMS. During the process of the intake, when I was asked about my employment, I stated that I was one of the members of the Four Tops from Motown.
Fast forward to April 2023, Alexander Morris went to a hospital near Detroit. He was feeling chest pain and had trouble breathing, so he sought emergency help. But things took a strange and upsetting turn.
They rolled me out into the hallway, which is where I remained for 3 hours or a little more. I'm asking for oxygen, asking for a blanket because I was cold.
When Morris told the hospital staff who he was, they didn't believe him. He told them he was the lead singer of the Four Tops. Instead of helping him right away, the staff thought he was mentally ill. They restrained him and ordered a psychological evaluation.
Then he asked for my cell phone. And I said, no, I'm gonna keep my phone with me. He said, no, you're gonna put the cell phone in the bag. I said, I've been in the hospital enough. I've never had someone take my cell phone from me.
Alexander Morris is not one of the original members of the Four Tops, but he joined the group in 2019. The Four Tops have been around since the 1950s and were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1990. Morris, proud of his role in the legendary group, thought telling the staff who he was would clear things up. Unfortunately, it only made things worse. According to the lawsuit Morris filed against Ascension Macomb Oakland Hospital, a nurse eventually believed him, and the psychological evaluation was canceled. But by that time, Morris had already been through a humiliating experience. To make things worse, the hospital offered him a $25 gift card as an apology. Morris refused it, feeling that it was not enough to make up for what happened. In his lawsuit, Morris said the hospital assumed he was mentally ill because he is black and claimed to be part of a famous group. He is suing the hospital for racial discrimination and other wrongdoing. The hospital responded to the lawsuit by saying they are committed to treating everyone with respect and do not tolerate racial discrimination. They said they couldn't comment further because the case is still ongoing.
Officer, I said, if you don't mind, I said, can I please show you something? His response to me was, nothing you have do I want to see or do I need to see. They had taken me out of my clothing.
Morris spoke about the incident last year, saying he felt terrible about how he was treated in his hometown of Detroit. He explained that instead of receiving help, he was made to feel like he was insane or schizophrenic.
We just lost the last original member of the Four Tops. You know that group, baby. Abdul Duke Fakir passed at 88.
Also, Duke Fakir. For years, he's been speaking up for artists who have been treated unfairly, especially when it comes to getting paid for their work. In a recent interview, he shared his thoughts about how older artists have been exploited and why change is urgently needed. Duke explained that many artists, especially those who made music before 1972, are not getting paid when their songs are played on digital radio platforms like SiriusXM and iHeartRadio. While these stations make billions of dollars each year, they don't pay royalties for songs recorded before 1972. This unfair system has left many older musicians struggling to pay their bills, even though their music is still enjoyed by millions. It's like a digital ripoff, Duke said. These companies are making money off our work, but we're not seeing a dime. He pointed out that many of the artists who recorded these classic songs can no longer tour or perform due to age or health issues. For them, royalties could mean being able to afford food, medical care, and rent. Why is this happening? Duke explained that the problem lies in the copyright law. Federal law protects songs recorded after 1972, but not the ones made before. This loophole allows big companies to avoid paying the artists who created timeless hits from the 40s, 50s, and 60s. It's unfair, he said. The people who made this music deserve to be paid.
Oh, baby. Oh, but it's cold outside.
But there's hope. A new law called the Classics Act is being discussed in Congress. If it passes, digital radio companies will have to pay royalties for all music, no matter when it was recorded. Duke believes this could make a big difference for older artists. This bill could change lives, he said. It's about fairness. Every artist deserves to be paid for their work. Duke also mentioned that this fight isn't just about the past. He's looking to the future, too. He believes all artists, no matter when they made their music, should get fair pay. A great song is a great song, whether it was recorded in 1962 or 2022, he said. He has been fighting for years to change the system. He knows it's not easy, but he's determined to keep pushing for what's right. I'll keep singing, and I'll keep fighting, he said, because we can't give up on fairness.
She was my girl. That was laughter and loving in my world.
So by 2008, the other members of the group had passed away, as earlier mentioned. Fakir took on the responsibility of keeping the Four Tops music alive, making sure the group's legacy continued. He never planned to retire and kept performing with the band until just weeks before his death. Fakir spent most of his life in Detroit, where he lived with his wife, Piper Gibson. They were married for 50 years and had a big family. He had 7 children, 13 grandchildren, and 9 great-grandchildren. One of his children had sadly passed away before him. Fakir often said that growing up in Detroit played a huge role in his decision to pursue music. Detroit was a city full of churches, gospel music, and jazz, and Fakir grew up singing in the church choir with his cousins. This early exposure to music shaped his career. Fakir's music journey began in the 1950s. He and his group mates, including Ronaldo Benson, were planning to go to college, but ended up getting a big break when they received their first professional gig in 1954. They decided to follow their dream and pursue music instead of going to school. This decision led to their success as the Four Tops. One of the closest calls in Fakir's life happened in 1988. After the Four Tops had finished a European tour, they were scheduled to fly home on a flight that would tragically crash in Scotland due to a terrorist bombing. Thankfully, they missed that flight because they were filming a TV show. That moment was a reminder of how lucky they were to be alive. Throughout his life, Fakir remained close friends with Mary Wilson, a member of another famous Motown group, the Supremes. They even had a brief romantic relationship in 1964, but their careers were growing, and they decided to call it off. They stayed friends, and in 2013, they even performed together at a holiday show in Chicago. Fakir continued to be active in music, despite some financial issues. In 2023, it was reported that the U.S. Treasury Department was seeking a large amount of unpaid taxes from him. Sadly, Fakir passed away on July 22, 2024, at the age of 88 due to heart failure. Even though he's gone, his music and legacy live on. Fakir and the Four Tops received many honors during his life. They were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1990, the Vocal Group Hall of Fame in 1999, and the Grammy Hall of Fame in 2018. Fakir was also awarded the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award in 2009. These losses were hard for the Four Tops and their fans. Each member brought something special to the group, and their absence was deeply felt. Despite the challenges, the Four Tops' music and legacy live on. They remain a symbol of hard work, talent, and the power of harmony.
And we all four were kind of street guys at the age. We were in high school, but we were like, what you call it, nice nasty. We were great in school, but we were street guys.
Over the years, the Four Tops earned many honors. Their music didn't just make it big, it became a part of the cultural fabric. Over time, they've gotten the recognition they deserve, showing that their sound isn't just timeless, it's foundational. They made history when they were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, a huge moment that underscored just how much they shaped Motown and modern music. Later, the Vocal Group Hall of Fame honored them for their tight harmonies and ability to connect with fans across different generations. Even Rolling Stone listed them among the greatest artists ever, recognizing how their music effortlessly blended R&B, pop, and soul into something truly unforgettable. Songs like Reach Out, I'll Be There, I Can't Help Myself, Sugar Pie, Honey Bunch, and Baby I Need Your Loving are still on heavy rotation today. Artists continue to cover them, and fans, old and new, keep coming back to those classics. The Four Tops aren't just a band, they're a cornerstone of music history. Their work continues to resonate, inspiring listeners and artists alike for decades and counting.